Okay, before I start today's RetroFE and MAME setup guide, if you like what you see today, hit notifications, subscribe and like so you don't miss upcoming retro emulation content on my channel, just Jamie. That just means you'll get notified every time I release a setup guide, which is every day pretty much, and it also helps my channel out. So last time I covered RetroFE on my channel was going back to around middle to late 2023. I've not touched it since. For those of you who follow me, you'll see that I upload a hell of a lot of different front-end systems as well as standalone emulators. So yes, we're back onto RetroFE today. If you're new to RetroFE, it works in a similar type of way as something like a tracked mode. So there's lots of text documents to look at, but we're going to get you up and running with this in MAME. Surprisingly, it's fairly simple. So we're just going to go to the website and download RetroFE. Remember, links are going to be in my description for everything I'm using today. Just download the latest full release of this, which is 0.10.31. I've already downloaded this. Next up, we're going to want MAME. So if we just head over to the MAME website, we're going to download MAME 0246B, and this is going to cater for the latest MAME ROM set as recording this video. Next up, I'm going to just briefly tell you, we're going to need some artwork for our games and everything else which comes with it, logos, that type of thing. You can get a lot of this from Progresso Snaps. Again, link's going to be in my description. It's just a simple case of just navigating on the panel there on the side just to get the relevant artwork. Or you can go to MU Movies, sign up with MU Movies, and you can actually go to downloads. And you can define your search and you can actually download artwork packs from here under Arcade Media. What I'm actually going to do today, because I'm just going to be using a few MAME games, I'm actually going to show you an alternative way of doing this. But first of all, let's actually get RetroFE set up. So once you've downloaded RetroFE, you'll download a zip folder like I've got. If we just extract this one, so you can right click on it, I'm using WinRAR to do this, and extract here. So just let this extract, and once this finished extracting, we can now delete that zip folder of RetroFE. We no longer need that one. Next up, we've also got MAME that we've downloaded, and what I'm going to do with this is actually create a new folder on my desktop, new folder, and I'm going to call this MAME. Now I'm going to drag that MAME inside of that MAME folder I've just created. And if I go inside, I'm then going to extract this one too. So WinRAR, extract here. Okay, so that's finished extracting. What we're going to do next is just delete this downloader that we've got from the MAME website. We no longer need that one. Everything's been extracted. Right, so let's take a look. We've got ROMs folder just here. What I'm going to do is actually pop some of my MAME games inside of that folder, and these are all in zip file extension. Now if you've got samples, then obviously samples go into your samples folder just here. But what we're going to do next is actually look at RetroFE itself, because we got some editing to do. So we're going to open up RetroFE. Now the first thing we need to look at is collections, which is at the top. If we go into collections, there's already a MAME folder there, so we don't need to create anything for MAME. We just go to MAME, and what we're going to do first of all is just head down to the settings.config. If we open this with Notepad, and here we go. So it looks a little bit daunting, but it really isn't that bad. So we got hashtag list path, and this is going to ask us where our games are. So if I just backspace, and what I need to do is replace this with the directory or the path of where my games are for MAME. So obviously these are actually located in my MAME folder I've just created, and they're in my ROMs folder, and here they are. I'm going to just left click on the search bar at the top and copy. So we've now copied that directory, and if we head back over to that text document, I'm going to press Ctrl and V, and that's now pasted the path of my games. Next up, under list.extensions, really most MAME games are in zip, and that's fine. We're going to leave launcher to MAME, And right at the bottom here, we got all the directories of where our artwork is going, but I'm going to get onto that shortly. So what we need to do for now is just go to File and then Save. Then if we just minimize that, and we're going to go back into that RetroFE directory, and this time we're going to go to Launchers, Windows. Now under here, we're going to find MAME.config. Again, if we open this one up with Notepad, so right click and open it with Notepad. Next thing we need to do is tell this where the MAME emulator is. So we need to find the executable. Right now, this path is in the wrong location and we don't have MAME64 either. So what I need to do is just highlight this and backspace so it's deleted. Now what I'm going to do next is go into my MAME directory, and what I'm going to do is look for the MAME.executable. So here it is, MAME.exe, right click, and I'm going to copy as path. And if I then go back into that MAME.config text document, under executable, I'm going to paste this, so Control and V. Now just remember to take the quote marks out of this like I'm doing here. And again, we're going to go to File and Save. And if we come out of here, and we also got a meta folder here, as you can see. Now, there's a way to generate a .xml file for your particular ROM set. If we go to open MAME.xml from here, say we open it with Notepad, or edit with Notepad, it will likely have the wrong information for the version of MAME ROM set you're using. We can actually really easily do this using the MAME emulator. So what we're going to do is open up MAME, and at the top of MAME we got a little floppy disk. If I left click on this one, first option we got is export list in XML format. If I press enter on this, and once that's done, exported.xml. So we need to now find this. So if we return to previous menu, now that XML was generated in the UI folder just here, and here it is, exported.xml. If I right click and copy this for now, what I'm going to do is go back to the RetroFE folder, and from here go back down to meta, hyperlist. Now what we need to do is just scroll down, and we're going to delete this MAME.xml, and I'm going to paste that new file that we just exported from MAME, and I'm going to rename this one to MAME. So show more options, rename, and MAME. And if we open this up with Notepad, we've now got our XML here in the correct place. Okay, so we're all done with that, and what we can do for now is just open up RetroFE itself. If we just double left click on the RetroFE shortcut, okay, as you can see, everything's working fine and I can actually access my MAME games. So what we're going to need to do next is actually set up some directories for our artwork to go into. Now, like I said just a minute ago, we can actually go to Emu Movies or Progressive Snaps. If you don't fancy doing that, we can just simply do a Google search. Now, for example, I'm going to be using Nemesis for this. Nemesis is one of my games within RetroFE. These need to be in .png. So what I'm going to do here is just make a copy of this one, actually save image as. And as we can see just here, this one's actually in .png. If I just backspace this series of numbers and letters and rename this to Nemesis, I'm going to just save this to my desktop for now. I'm also going to grab a piece of artwork which represents the screen of the game. So right click, save image as, and as we see, that one's in .jpeg or .jpg. That one's no good. So we need to be on the hunt for .png images. Okay, so I've just downloaded this image from Google, so that's going to act as part of the wheel. So I'm going to go to my RetroFE folder, and under collections I'm going to go down to MAME, And if we go to medium artwork, I'm going to use this as my logo. So if I just drop in that nemesis.png into the logo folder, if we come back out, and I'm also going to make a note just here, you're going to find system artwork folder. This is pretty much a little preview video and artwork, so for the arcade cab itself. If you want to change this video, put your own video in there, literally just replace it with an MP4 in place and rename it to video. If I come back out, we're going to go down to settings. Now what we need to do is just scroll to the bottom here, and I'll just put that into my logo folder. So if I delete the path just here and backspace it, what I need to do is go back into my RetroFE directory, medium artwork, logo, and at the search bar at the top, I'm going to left click to highlight that, right click, copy, and go back to that text document, and I'm going to just paste in the new directory of this. Now if we go to file and save, if I open up RetroFE again, and here we go. As you can see at the bottom of the screen, we now got in place Nemesis, where if I go to a Toki, it's gone. So we can continue to add to this if we just quit out of RetroFE. Next up, what I'm going to suggest doing is just going back to your collections folder, and from here just go into your main folder again, and we're going to go down to settings. If I just scroll to the bottom again, to make things easier so we don't have to keep going to this every 5 seconds, is just actually set up these directories now. So what I'm going to do is actually change the paths of each piece of artwork just here. So for example, media.screenshot, we got screenshot just here. If I just go inside of there and copy that, we're then going to go back over that text document and backspace it, Control and V, so that one's now changed directories, and that's correct. We also got media.screenTitle, so screen title folder is here, and if I again copy that new directory and just edit media screen title, backspace, and it's really just a case of going through each one of these and changing it to the directory where you want it to pick up your artwork. We've even got media video, so if you want to pop in an MP4 video, then obviously drop your MP4 video of that particular game into that video folder, and then just edit your media video path to the correct path. Okay, let's funk up RetroFE. We can also change layouts. If we go back over to the RetroFE website, we're going to find themes just here. Download the latest themes. And from here we got a selection of different themes, so there's plenty here to choose from. So let's just go for animatic just here. Let's just download that and keep animatic. Cool. So what we need to do then, in order to use a new theme within RetroFE, is extract it. So that's now been extracted. If we go back into the RetroFE folder, you're going to find a layouts folder just here. This is where your extracted folders will go. And we then need to edit another text document. So if we just go down to settings, and right here under display settings, you're going to find layout. What I need to do is just backspace this and actually rename it to the folder or the theme I want to use. So if we go in layouts, animatic, and we need to spell this exactly how it's spelled on that folder, animatic. Now if we go to file and save, if we then open up RetroFE again, and there we go. So the wheel logo looks a lot better, and like I say, once you start adding all that artwork, including preview videos, it's going to look really awesome for you. Okay, as you can see, here's a little bit of work I've done. So with Nemesis, I put box art of the game itself for a little poster. We also got the logo beneath it, and we got a screenshot of the game itself. And I've also done this with Robocop as well. So not bother with these, I'll leave that up to you to do if you want to do this manually. If not, this is how great this can look if you use some like emu movies or something else to scrape your artwork. I'm also going to make note here that providing on the layout you use, you won't necessarily see stuff like this, such as the screenshot and the box art. So I'm going to show you an example of this. If I just come out of RetroFE, if I go to layout and change this back to animatic, and obviously go to file and save, if I then open up RetroFE again, and as you can see, my box art for Nemesis is now gone, but we've got the screenshot of the games and we've still got the logos acting as wheels just here. So let's actually open up a game then. Just remember, whatever settings you want to do for MAME, you actually do this through the MAME emulator itself. You don't do this through RetroFE. Remember, RetroFE is just a front end, which just means it's displaying all the glossy artwork. So if I open up Nemesis, and if I press tab on my keyboard, this is going to bring up the main menu, and from here we can go to input settings, input assignments general, and from here player 1. I can then map out my controller by, say, pressing enter on player 1 up, and then pressing up on my D-pad, and down on D-pad, and if we then return to previous menu, go down to other controls, and from here you can map out a button to act as your coin 1. And if I then go back into the game, and to exit out of that, I've just pressed escape. And if we then come out of RetroFE, we can also configure your MAME settings using the emulator itself. And just remember, your emulator is wherever you placed it. So for me, it's on desktop. And if I open up MAME from here, I can then go down to, say, general settings, and whichever settings you apply through MAME directly will apply in RetroFE. So for example, we can go to video options from here, and we can enable triple buffering, and we can also enable or disable bilinear filtering. So obviously both of these are going to be pretty much taking away your pixelation. If I disable bilinear filtering, if we go down to return to previous menu, we also got sound options here. So if you get any issues with your sounds at all, you want to disable the sound, you can disable the sound here from your games from putting this on and off or whatever. Return to previous menu. We got input device options here. So say you want to play a light gun game, something like Terminator 2, the arcade game, or Alien the Gun, or Beastbusters, then you can configure to use with your mouse, for example, or light gun for these type of settings here. And just remember to save your settings in MAME. I'm also going to make a note here that we also got an option if you press tab called dip switches, and from dip switches we can change the difficulty level of the arcade games. So I'm going to attempt to play this on hardest, which is going to be impossible, I think. And that's it for today's RetroFE and MAME setup guide. So a little bit complicated, a bit confusing in places. If you should get anything wrong, just go back to the video, and my recommendation is just literally delete everything and start again. 99% of the time, things work. But RetroFE, definitely through MAME, is a case of just putting your ROMs and emulators directory into place. And if you want to mess around with layouts, that's fairly simple too. Like I say, just go back to the video and look what I'm doing. Just like attract mode, it's all about text documents in RetroFE, as you've seen through this video. Anyways, if you like today's video, hit notification, subscribe and like so you don't miss out on upcoming retro emulation content. Also join me on social media. I'm on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter and TikTok. But until next time, stay retro.